pinned the Nature Boy, ending the career of Ric Flair.
What's good, peoples? It's your boy Blaze here with another one for Venomous Reactions. And since we're in WrestleMania season and WrestleMania is just a few short days away, why not get started with some WrestleMania moments? And this one comes from Tap Out Corner, and this one is called Saddest WWE WrestleMania Moments That Made Everyone Cry. Now, as we all know, with WrestleMania is the showcase of all shows. It's pretty much WWE's version of Super Bowl for wrestling. And there have been some moments that was just emotion filled to where you can't help but be drawn into it. So we're going to see what made the list from Tap Out Corner. So without further ado, let's check it out.
After a roughly 3-month hiatus, Ric Flair returned to WWE in November 2007 to say he would never retire. However, Vince McMahon had other plans. McMahon said that the next match Flair lost would result in the Nature Boy being forced into retirement. The next few months were filled with heart-pounding moments as Flair did everything he needed to do in order to avoid retirement. However, in a crazy move, Ric Flair actually challenged Shawn Michaels to a match at WrestleMania. HBK was hesitant, but Flair
Classic
insisted
match.
that he wanted to
WrestleMania
fight Shawn.
24.
At WrestleMania 24, the two legends laced up their boots and went toe-to-toe. Michaels and Flair put on a phenomenal match that only they could do. The fans watched intensely the entire time and held on to every moment. Finally, and pinned the Nature Boy, ending the career of Ric Flair.
Now with that WrestleMania right there, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, classic match. And a perfect send-off for the Nature Boy. Because he did everything he could to avoid retirement. I mean, he didn't get the name the dirtiest player in the game for no reason. So he did whatever he could, however he could, to avoid it. Up until WrestleMania 24. To where he met his end, courtesy of good old HBK and some good old sweet chin music. But again, it was a perfect send-off for the Nature Boy as he put on the performance of his life. And you cannot think otherwise.
The emotions began pouring out immediately after that. Once he got up, Flair was in tears, as well as many others. While the Nature Boy would wrestle again outside of WWE, it was still sad seeing a legend's career come to an end. Ironically, 2 years later, Shawn Michaels would find himself in a very similar position as Ric Flair. At WrestleMania 25, Michaels earned the opportunity to face off against one of his old rivals, The Undertaker. The dead man had never been defeated on the grandest stage of them all, and HBK would do anything to be the first man to do it. Shawn survived some brutal punishment, and at one point, fans thought Michaels might do the impossible. However, in the end, Mr. WrestleMania had his shoulders covered and became another victim of the dead man. Afterward, the Heartbreak Kid became obsessed and wanted one more match with The Undertaker. After scratching and clawing, Shawn Michaels got his rematch, with the stipulation that if he lost, he would retire. With everything on the line, Shawn Michaels laced up his boots and locked up with The Undertaker again at WrestleMania
one more
26.
time.
HBK gave it 110%, but despite his valiant effort, Michaels could not get the job done and suffered a second defeat at the hands of the dead man. Just like that.
Man, those two epic encounters at WrestleMania 25 and 26, in my opinion, some of the best performances to come from both the dead man and good old HBK. And there was a lot of close calls to where Shawn Michaels was this close to where people was damn near jumping out of their seats. And unfortunately, it wasn't enough. Now, for WrestleMania 26, it was even more epic because it was a lot at stake, and Shawn Michaels put his career on the line. And, man, the finish to that, a vicious jumping tombstone something that The Undertaker hasn't done in a long time. That just capped off the final encounter between legend versus legend. The Dead Man versus the Heartbreak Kid. The Streak versus a legendary career. Man, the storytelling behind that was just beyond, beyond authentic and epic. You saw you saw in that one the desperation for Shawn Michaels to just do what no other person could do. That's try to end the streak. Epic storytelling. Epic.
The career of one of the most legendary wrestlers came to an end, and plenty of tears were shed because of it. It seemed like
Yes.
the odds were always stacked against Daniel Bryan. The American Dragon defeated John Cena and won the WWE Championship at SummerSlam. However, the moment was ruined when he was attacked by Triple H. This allowed Randy Orton to cash in his Money in the Bank contract and take the title from Bryan.
Another epic
Daniel would try to
another
become
epic
champion again,
storyline
but
right
he'd
here.
always get screwed by the Authority. Finally, after fans invaded the ring on live TV and refused to leave, Triple H agreed to fight Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30.
Man, when the fans hijacked the ring, that episode of Raw leading up to WrestleMania 30, man, you cannot tell me you wasn't like hyped to see that. Like fans just hijacked Raw until Daniel Bryan was placed in a position to where he could compete for the World Heavyweight title. Awesome moment. Awesome. No pun intended.
If Daniel won, he would get to compete for the WWE Championship in the main event. Bryan pulled off a massive victory and beat Triple H, but the game wasn't playing fair. He attacked Daniel after the match, forcing
Of
him to go into the
course.
championship match injured. Despite all the odds stacked against him, Daniel Bryan overcame all of it. The
And
American
prevailed.
Dragon hit the running knee and made Batista tap out. After a long, hard-fought battle, Bryan had finally become WWE World Heavyweight Champion again. The fans celebrated loudly, and cheers of yes, yes, yes reigned throughout the stadium.
Man, the crowd was jacked that night. Like after Daniel Bryan won, man, you could not silence the crowd for jack shit. But you gotta admit that was epic storytelling within itself. Like Daniel Bryan, he was pretty much the ultimate underdog. Like no one expected him to succeed, and to see him prevail against all adversity, mm, Trey Magnifico me for then. Woo!
The underdog had prevailed. This one is sad for all the wrong reasons.
Oh
When
my
Booker T made his
god.
WWE debut in 2001, it was an uphill battle. Being that he was part of WCW, the company that tried to put WWE out of business, Booker wasn't welcomed with open arms. After putting in hard work, Booker T won a huge opportunity, a World Heavyweight Championship match at WrestleMania. The champion, Triple H, made this rivalry very personal when he said,
Very personal.
Somebody like you doesn't get to be a world champion.
Triple H made other very personal attacks on Booker in the lead up to WrestleMania. The match should have been a heartwarming moment with Booker winning, but instead, Triple H beat Booker T and retained his championship.
Facts. Like, I believe everyone expected Booker T to win at WrestleMania 19. I mean, hell, I expected it to win. But as always, the politicking and the stroke backstage saw Triple H retaining. And granted the fact that Booker T was injured in the midst of that match, he still should have came out on top. But uh, that's one factor. The other factor is the build-up. Like, come on, really, bro? Like someone like you doesn't get to main event at WrestleMania? Mm, I'm I'ma hold my anger in. Just this once. But you know. You know.
It was such a sad moment in WrestleMania history, and not in a good way at all. For 2
Facts.
decades, one of the traditions of WrestleMania was The Undertaker and his streak. The dead man never lost a single match at the event, and every year a new opponent would try and defeat the Phenom. Every year, though, Undertaker always had his hand raised. At WrestleMania 30 in 2014, Taker was going up against one of his toughest opponents yet, Brock Lesnar. The Beast used his most powerful move, the F5, but, as everyone expected, Undertaker kicked out. Brock hit a second F5, and Undertaker kicked out again. Brock hit a third F5, and honestly, a lot didn't want to ever see it. However, Lesnar had his hand raised and ended a legacy that took 20 years to build.
Yeah, that began the downfall afterwards. Like, granted the fact that Undertaker was injured during the match with a severe concussion, like it showed after the match. But there was so many ways they could have called an audible. Like, true, like I said, the dead man, he was concussed during the match, but you still could have had him like come out on top and keep the streak alive. But what's done is done. The damage is done. Can't go back and rewind time and prevent it from happening. But like I said, they could have done a better job at calling the audible for this one. But like I said, it is what it is.
Kurt Angle is easily one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. When he announced that he'd be retiring at WrestleMania 35, it was sad news. What made it even worse was when it was announced that Baron Corbin would be Angle's final opponent. Fans did not want to see Corbin be the last person the Olympic gold medalist fought. Regardless, the two squared off at WrestleMania.
But it happened.
A match that wasn't awful, but nowhere near worthy of being Angle's last match. It ended with Baron Corbin getting the victory as well, which made the entire thing a major disappointment. Fans were sad to see Kurt Angle retire, and that he went out on such a terrible note, not fitting of a legend like Angle. One of the most iconic couples in WWE history was Macho Man Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth. That's why it broke fans' hearts to see them break up in 1989. They remained separated for nearly 2 years, and in that time, Savage got into a rivalry with the Ultimate Warrior. This led to a retirement match at WrestleMania 7. Unfortunately, Macho Man lost, which meant his in-ring career was over. While that was sad, the real tearjerker came afterward. Sherry Martel, who was the Macho Man's manager, was upset that she couldn't smooch off Savage anymore and started attacking Randy. Miss Elizabeth, who was watching in the crowd, couldn't bear to see it and jumped into the ring and saved Macho Man. With Sherry
get up out of here.
Elizabeth and Macho looked at each other and embraced in the ring. The fans cried tears of joy seeing Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth finally back together. Even though he lost his wrestling career, Savage won something much more valuable. These are the WrestleMania moments WWE wants you to see, but there are others that they don't. Watch this video on screen to see the WrestleMania moments WWE has erased from history.
Yeah, I probably might check that one out next. You know, like I said, since we're in WrestleMania season, why not put some more WrestleMania moments on the channel? So, but man, with that countdown, I can see why. Like, those made the saddest moments because it was like things you really didn't want to happen, but you have to come to terms with it. Like, it was gonna happen eventually, but the streak ending. Honestly, to me, I thought that would have came a lot later than sooner, but like I said, they called the audible, and they had Brock Lesnar being the one to initially conquer the streak. I mean, like I said, they could have done a better job with that, but hey, it happened. You can't go back and erase time. But wouldn't that be cool if you could, though? I'll just say it. But yeah, man, these moments here, man, definitely brought back nostalgia, especially with Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels and Daniel Bryan prevailing beyond, I guess you could say, beyond having the deck stacked against them. Like I said, with WrestleMania moments, you're gonna be emotionally involved because it's like your favorite wrestlers you watched growing up and seeing them either prevail be or having no choice but to say goodbye to the world that they were destined to entertain. Mm, it's a lot of nostalgia and a lot of emotions involved. But comment down below, um, what was one WrestleMania moment that made you cry the most? And as always, thank y'all for tuning in. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this reaction. And as always, don't forget to tell your peeps across the globe. Come kick it with your boy one good time. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. And you already know my social media. Come follow me over there and see what's happening. Now, this your boy Blaze. He is saying Chuck the Deuce. And I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.